Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, I have two very, very special guests. I have Colleen and Saeed here with me, and we're going to be going into everything around Arsenal. We're going to be talking about Thierry Henry and the possible top four chances. We're going to be talking about Mikel Arteta and his project for the summer. We're going to be getting into some of the stuff going around Arsenal right now, like Martinelli, possible US tour, and just some other things that we're going to touch upon. But before I get any further, I want you guys a big welcome to my guest. First time on the channel, I got Saeed to my right, and I got Colleen down in the bottom. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you, Gal, for having me on your show today. And obviously, nice to meet you, Colleen, as well.
No worries. And Colleen, yourself?
I'm doing well. It's nice to be on and be with you both.
Bless. And also, I just want to get started by introducing you guys to the channel first time. So every time we get started and we get new guests, we have to ask, how did you fall in love with this club called Arsenal, and what got you into it? Because my story is that I got into it through the '98 World Cup, watching Zidane and the France team, and then somehow just got connected to the France national team. I seen a lot of French players on the Arsenal side, and then boom, it just became natural like that. But what about yourselves? I'll get started with Saeed.
Well, I got into supporting Arsenal in somewhere around 1989. That was where I came from. We only used to see the highlights, and I liked that red team. I was a bit young at that point. Obviously, growing up, I've seen the team winning through the 90s. Obviously, that's cemented by the period where we had some domination around the 1998 all the way to 2004. I like the way that the team plays, and I like the way that Arsenal was giving, probably or arguably the best football that you can watch at that period. So that's how I supported Arsenal, and since then I've never changed. I can't see myself supporting anyone else.
Okay, and Colleen, yourself?
Yeah, I'm slightly a bit younger than you first started watching in '89. I grew up in a Liverpool household actually, and I just remember watching Arsenal in the early noughties. I did have a thing for Ljungberg. I just loved the way he played, and I think what solidified it was the end of our Highbury days, the way we played, and just the passion that we had across the ground. It was really Highbury that drew me into Arsenal, to be honest with you, and Arsenal, because he was the only manager I knew at that time for most of my life.
Yeah, same. I honestly thought growing up that they named the club after him, because I never seen any manager besides him until he left for Unai Emery. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'll tell you that, Colleen. When it comes down to today's schedule, we're going to be getting into a bunch of stuff. But first place I want to begin, beginning of the season, when the season began, I personally did not see us getting into top four. I thought we had a chance if other teams dropped off, but I didn't really see Manchester United dropping off or these other teams dropping off. And today, there's been a lot of controversy. If you guys haven't seen, Thierry Henry said some quotes, and he's really pissed off some of the Arsenal fan base, because he came off very negative about our opportunity to get into top four. And let me just show you guys what was said, so you guys know exactly what we're talking about. Thierry Henry on Arsenal's top four chances. For me, if they don't do it, as I said from the start of the season, then it will be a failure. He didn't even acknowledge that we have a good chance, we have a good opportunity, we're on the right track. So let me just show you guys the exact quote. Honestly, first, before we get on the actual top four favorites and everything else, we have to talk about this. Henry, Arsenal legend, is getting a lot of backlash because he did say he didn't believe that we can get into the top four and it would be a failure. He basically echoed his thoughts from the beginning of the season again, instead of saying some some kind words saying, you know what, they're doing well, maybe they can get it, maybe he can do good. I think personally it could push them on, but it's his own opinion. He's keeping the same energy as he said at the beginning of the season. I don't find anything wrong with it, but I would think that there might be a conflict of interest with the fact that he didn't want to buy the club a couple months ago, if you remember, with the whole Daniel X situation. So maybe that's in the back of my mind when I say I don't know if he's being genuine. But to me, he will always be a club legend. I will never disrespect him. I understand that's his opinion. I respect his opinion, but I highly disagree. I want to know, Saeed, what do you think about this?
I think it's a obviously it came across to me like a negative vibe, but if you look at it, I try to address everything with some logic around it. If you look at our chances and look at the table and see, everybody around the league last week and the week before, literally playing for Arsenal. It's playing for Arsenal hand. We did what? We played 22 games. Everybody around us played 24, 25. We still have 3 games in hand. We're 39 points. If we win, or not if we win, the next 5 games, basically, the next 5 fixtures are all within reach. They are all possible. If we get them, we firmly in the top 4. And also maybe we can, I don't know, but if Chelsea keep dropping points like it is, maybe even top 3. I'm not ambitious to say this because I look at it from numbers point of view and from calculation point of view. I mean, the next 5 fixtures, I think we have Wolves again, and then we have Brentford, Wolves again, and then we have Watford, Leicester, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Brighton. They're all within reach. Even Southampton are all within reach. I mean, from now until the 16th of April, you probably have a very good chance of going in a very good streak and not losing any games. So if you look at the fixtures around you and the fixtures around the other 4 or 5 teams that fighting us for the for the top 4, I think we have a very good chance. But it all depends on the next 4 or 5 games. If you have a winning streak, this is it. You're not gonna let it go.
Okay, Colleen, what do you think about Henry's comments of the top 4 and just before we get into the top 4 race itself?
I mean, I am inclined to agree with him, if I'm honest with you. I do think people are being a tad sensitive about it. It might be slightly unpopular thing to say, but I know at the beginning of the season I never thought, I don't think either of you guys thought we would be in a top 4 race as close as it is at this point in the season. When you looked at the squads when we first came in, United, of course, Ronaldo, Bruno, De Gea, they have quite a nice spine there, or so you would think on paper. Chelsea, of course, Liverpool and City. We were never in the running for it. Now, in February, there is such a great chance to get it. I can see what he's saying, that it would be a failure, and maybe in his eyes, I think failure might be slightly a harsh word because it might be slightly unfair to keep moving the goalpost, but you have to keep adapting throughout the season. Like, chances will pop up that you never thought would pop up. Failure might be too harsh, but then again, Henry played for us during a time where we were never fighting for 4th. It was a title, trying to get in the late stage of the Champions League. He's coming across like your Roy Keanes of the world, your Gary Nevilles, your Jamie Carragher's, who have always played for this club at an elite level. And it's a difficult situation to see them at a level that they've never been in the club in and around what they are now, fighting for 4th or even 6th or 5th, just trying to stay in Europe. So failure might be a bit harsh. I think a lot of people, would take 5th if we didn't get 4th. I generally think a lot of people would be like, fine, we're at least back in Europe. Because remember, we finished 8th 2 seasons in a row. This is, I think people are forgetting, it's not like we're in the Wenger years, the latter days of the Wenger years, where it was just 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. We're not even in Europe this season. So you've got to be realistic. I don't think it wouldn't be a failure if we didn't get 4th. I'd be disappointed. I'm expecting us, we're out of all the cups. We're not in Europe. Chelsea even as well, they're not, they've been a bit unstable in the league. So alluding to your point, Said, around, potentially 3rd, but that might be a bit ambitious. But around fourth, Tottenham, inconsistent. United, they have the squad, but you know, if it wasn't for like last night getting a player sent off for Brighton, and even then, they didn't look great. And we're almost fall in that category as well. We're just so consistently inconsistent. So it's just going to come down to that. So I wouldn't say it'd be a failure. I can see what he's saying. I'm expecting it. At this point, from now, from February onwards, we have a chance. So why not? But then, you know, like I said, he was involved in the kind of the takeover bit with Daniel Ek. You know, he's always played for the club when we've been fighting for titles. So he has a different motive behind it than us. So it's kind of unclear where he's coming from.
Yeah. So my question maybe to the audience would be, and to everyone here would be, Henry said his point. He's okay with his. I'm okay with him saying his opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But I personally feel like we are favorites for the top four. So I'm asking everybody here: are we favorites for the top four? Because that's my question. My next question is that I wanted to add on to this. Now that Henry said what he said, saying it's a failure if we don't get it, I think we are favorites. I think looking at Manchester United dropping points, as you said, Colleen, and looking, Saeed, at our fixtures, as you said, I think we are favorites right now. And I'm going to ask everyone in the comment section with that question in the top of the space, in the top of the video. Now, I'm going to throw it to you, Saeed. Are we favorites? And I'm just going to show you a graphic quickly. Betting odds now currently have Arsenal slight favorites over Manchester United and Tottenham, and West Ham are further down the line. So with looking at the odds being as good as they are and favorable for Arsenal, thoughts on that? And do you think Arsenal are now the favorites and in the driving seat for top four, especially after what you just said earlier?
They have a big chance to do it. I mean, as I said, you know, Big Four is you know, there is a very good chance for us. With good percentages as well. I mean, those kind of odds doesn't come out of the blue. I mean, the guys in betting, they probably have a lot more information than us. But at the same time, you look at it how that trajectory, if it continues for another 2 weeks, you're in Big Four with no question. But it all depends on the next 4 or 5 games. We have to get those 15 points in a streak. You know, if you get it, you will cement your position in this top 4, and you're probably looking at maybe even better than this. But you know, looking at the squad and how we played again, that kind of balanced the odds for me a little bit, because the way that we lose points out of a pure naivety is astonishing, and that has some kind of reasons underneath it. Because you know, when you look at the building blocks around the team, you have the youngest squad in the Premier League. It's 24.6 years. Okay, so that's, you know, it's very good. And then you look at how they played and how they lost their points. You lose points when you're up in the game. You lost about 6 points to Manchester United and Everton, both of them on a row. After you were already ahead. Okay, you get red cards for free, absolutely for free. You don't really need those red cards. I mean, look at the red card, you know, Martinelli had that, you know, last week. That's an absolute pure naivety. That's, you know, that's what I call it. You lose those kind of games out of inexperience. So, you know, that also connects to how many really good experienced, you know, players around the team. Who's got the cool head on the pitch? That's my view. But if you look at it from a pure number point of view, no, you have a very good chance. Very good chance.
I hear you. Colleen, just before you go, it's gonna be a similar question, but I'm gonna alter it slightly a bit. More or less looking at our rivals and saying, what do we have better than them? Because I see Manchester United, they seem to be a little bit of a mess. I see Tottenham, they seem to be a little bit of a mess. Why do you think we might be better than them, or why do you think we might not be better than them?
I mean, I think defensively, we have a better defensive structure than Tottenham or United, which is a weird thing to say about a Conte team. But you saw them against Southampton, and even Leicester, even though they went on to win the game. Defensively, I don't know whether it's the personnel or whether they're still adjusting to Conte's style. I just don't. They can still concede 2-3 goals in a game, and you wouldn't be surprised. United, at this point, you don't even know if they could face, like when they face Burnley, they might win, they might lose. You wouldn't be surprised either way. They're very inconsistent. I think a lot of it comes down to the structure of the team. So I think we have a better back five. Maybe not necessarily personnel wise, that can be debated, but in this current moment, form wise, working with their coaches like Mikel, Ralph, and Conte, we seem to be coming out slightly better. But where we're not strong is up front and in our squad. We are very, very, very light. United, especially, have a very deep squad, and all it can take for them is they just need to click. That's easier said than done, but they've got the squad. They just need to click. Tottenham, they've got Conte. So at the minute, it's kind of hit and miss at the minute. My Arsenal side wants me to say that they'll probably be a bit Spursy, but you can't really rule it out because you just don't know with Conte, and they strengthened in January as well, especially in the midfield. Even if you don't really rate the two players that they got from Juventus, whereas us, we're 1 or 2 injuries away from playing who we're 1 or 2 away from trying to get very creative. We didn't sign a striker, whatever. Maybe the argument being, I don't want to sign anyone if they're not on our list. Okay, fair enough. But the fact that there was no one for 6 months, it just leaves us very, 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 very vulnerable. Granted, we're not in the cups and we're not in Europe. It's 1 game a week. You think it should, clearly Mikel and the team think it's doable. But, as you've alluded to, there's a red card here, red card there. Just takes, 1 game to pick up an injury. And I think we're slight favourites for top 4, but that is going to be the crux of the issue. We're just 1-2 injuries away, 1 suspension away from having to, get into the academy and getting some players from there to come out, which we've seen in the past has worked out, but it's a very, very, very big risk.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and everyone, please don't crucify me, but please challenge me if you disagree. I think Tottenham, we have a better defense, as you said, Colleen. I'm not going to go through that, but we also have a more cohesive group than Tottenham and Manchester United. We have a better dressing room currently than both teams. There seems to be a better positive aura with both teams, and also the most important thing, we have a manager who's worked with these players longer than they have. Antonio Conte came in mid-season. Ralf Rangnick is not a manager. He's not a coach, in my opinion. I don't know what he's doing at Manchester United right now, besides just the interim role, and he's not going to be doing anything managerial-wise for them long-term, in my opinion. So when it comes down to it, we currently have a better setup than our rivals, and this is where Saeed wanted to go into it, talking us in comparison to our other teams. Our project seems to be going better. We currently have a young, upcoming squad. We currently have a lot of up-and-coming players in our team, and we are building for the future, where Manchester United went hard this summer for old senior players like Varane and Ronaldo coming in, increasing the age of their squad, increasing the experience. But these are win now moves, where Tottenham, I feel like they're stagnating, and they need to start their rebuild sooner than later. Both Manchester United and Tottenham. But Arsenal, we're in the middle of our rebuild, halfway through, I would say, not even close to the end, but we are already competing with the likes of Tottenham and Manchester United. So I think the future is very bright, and I think if we get top 4, it's vital to our future. But we're going to get to the summer. But my main point right now is, what do you think about Arsenal's project in comparison to Tottenham and Manchester United's project?
I think Arsenal project is much more advanced and much more complicated, sophisticated than United and Tottenham or anybody around the league. We currently have the youngest squad average age. We have many players coming out of the academy. I mean, even the academy is doing really well, producing good players. We spend money as well. We started to spend good money as well. So, and the recruitment last year, I think that was a very good call. I mean, the 5 players they brought in, they made a huge difference. But we're not there yet. So we're halfway through that kind of project. The thing is that whether halfway project that with the same manager or with a different manager, that it's not the case at all. And we're not talking here whether Arteta in or out. We're talking about a whole picture rather than just one person that actually apply the strategy of the club. What we see at United is that we see a reset in the project. It's not continuing to produce the good players from the academy going into the first team, etc. We seeing a reset of the entire project. We're seeing some kind of a reset button. I'm gonna go in a completely different direction because that direction didn't work for me. That's basically what we're seeing this year. But if you look at it like 4 or 5 years ago, especially I used to work for United. I used to work inside the club, so maybe I have some different vision. But they had a very good project. They had a very good project with a plan. They wanted to go all the way. The thing is that bringing in or kicking out Mourinho and bringing in some inexperienced coach caused them to go back few steps in order to head back into the right direction. And Ragnick, in my point of view, is a very, very good coach. He's a very good football philosopher. He's got a philosophy. He has a way of play. Whether those players are able to apply what he wants or not, that's a completely different case. But he has a philosophy.
Let me
his role.
I think Colleen can do Spurs now because of course you've covered Manchester United fully. Colleen, did you want to talk about the comparison to Arsenal right now and where Spurs are? Because I definitely do think we're at a crossroad. It almost seems like that North London derby at the Emirates set the clubs on two different paths, where they sacked their manager and where we continue to progress. And you know what? Not to toot my own horn, I was on numerous channels bragging about how we are at a crossroad and we're going to go up and they're going to go down, and it just came to fruition. But you go ahead. What do you think?
I mean, the problem is with projects is that it's never as simple as just like it's never linear, And I think what people can get sucked up in is if we lost 2 games in a row, a lot of people would be like the project dead or it's not working. And similarly with Spurs, when Spurs had Nuno. So I think with the project, you have to be very, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. And that's the same with Tottenham. Tottenham is at a different place right now. Their project, I don't think their project was the exact same from when they were with Nuno than now when they have Conte. The goal might be the same, but the way they're going to get it is going to be completely different. I think just having Conte, his star, and the kind of players he attracts changes the whole ballpark for them. With us, I do think we are slowly but steadily going up in the project. Yes, we have a very young squad, which might come into our favour later. But right now, as Arteta has alluded to, with a young squad does come, as I said, that naivety, there will be inconsistency. There will be these stupid, red cards and things like that. So it's about seeing the bigger picture and not getting bogged, taking the project game by game. So as of currently, I do think our project is in a better situation than Tottenham. I think Tottenham are in a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. I think Conte kind of papers over the cracks. You get a big manager, he's won Serie A, they've won the Premier League, he's a winner. It's okay, he's a serial winner, he can sort this out. Similarly, like they did with Mourinho. As we all know, that is not necessarily the case, not in the Premier League anyway, it's just too competitive. I think we're just going to have to see. I think it's too soon to say with Arsenal. Like I said, we've finished 8th twice in a row. We've kind of got out a lot of players that are not Mikel players, as we've seen. They've gone. 100%. Our wage bill's halved. He's brought in the players that he thinks work for him. So we have to I think we still have to wait a little bit before we can say the project is definitely going on the up. But I do think from 2022-2023 season, the next season we will be much more competitive. That's my hope. With the changes that we're seeing with the culture, the identity, the playing style, the personnel. But in comparison to Tottenham, at this point, it's so early to tell with them because they've got Conte. Like I said, he could paper over the cracks and he could get them over a finish line. He could get them to 5th or 4th just with him. But I do think he's got a massive struggle there. You've got some players there who are maybe not necessarily playing for the club. Like, Harry's been in and out all season. He's not been in his best form, wanting to move away. I think a lot of their squad is a bit average. I'm not saying some people in our squad are not average, but I do think a lot of their squad is average. Even who they've got from Juventus, I don't think they're game changers to me. I think we're just going to have to see as the games go on. And I think the next North London derby, the rescheduled one, is going to be interesting to compare from how we were at the Emirates with Mikel and Nuno versus their new part in it with Conte and Mikel. I think it'll be an interesting way to see how each club have gone from that point to now.
And I think you've helped me segue this perfectly to Mikel Arteta. So let's now talk about Mikel Arteta. This was him as a player at the Champions League podium, but now this could be him as a manager at a Champions League podium very, very soon. I want to ask you guys quick thoughts on Arteta before he joined and now, just like a quick one, and then we're going to take the picture down and go back to our regular discussion. Colleen, what do you think of Arteta before he joined and now? Just like quick couple words.
I was apprehensive before he joined. Now I'm bought in on the project. I am with him. Can't say that was the same at the beginning of the season. I think I was one of those reactionary fans, but I think he's doing a good job. He's completely changing the identity, the culture, and the way we play. So I don't see any reason to not stick with him at the minute.
Okay, and then what about yourself, Saeed?
I think from what he's done so far, I think he's a good manager. Okay. The thing with the thing is that Arsene Wenger used to have a very good quote about young players and young people in general. He was basically saying, if I brought in a young player, he will cost me points. Yeah. Imagine how many young players in the team right now and how many points we should be losing. So Arteta is there. We have to support him until the end of the season and see where we are and how we, whether he's going to continue or not. But I don't think you have any choice but to be in his side for this at this point of time.
Okay, I'm just going to make this clear. I will not be having an Arteta in or out discussion today. I think in 2022, that is a redundant conversation. We don't need to have that. At the moment, he's going to be our manager until the end of the season. And even at the end of the season, I really don't think he's going to be sacked unless we have an absolute horrific collapse at this point. So I'm fully behind the manager. I'm fully behind the team. I'm backing them. And if anybody starts having in-out debates at this moment in time, it would be counterproductive to the task at hand. Now, getting back to that, making that clear, we're going to get back to the main topic. Mikel Arteta and his current project, it needs to be fast-tracked by getting into the Champions League. If we do not get into the Champions League, the importance of attracting the right players, the right pieces to develop our squad is going to be at risk. And if you guys know, well thought after journalist Fabrizio Romano has spoken about the opportunity Arsenal has this up and coming summer and how they will be spending huge amounts of money to fast track their plan and project in the summer. So I want to ask you guys, are you believing the hype of that we're going to spend all this money in the summer? Because I will tell you right now, this is what the rumor says, and I'm reading it for a quote. 1 second. Reportedly, Arsenal are eyeing a big summer transfer ahead to set up Arteta for 180 million transfer budget to be spent this summer, especially after Stan Kroenke has won the Super Bowl. They think that he's going to invest a lot of money. Arsenal are going to be going after a striker. They're going to be going after a midfielder and some other pieces. Targets like Alexander Isak, Dominic, Calvert-Lewin, Ruben, Neves have been some of the names that we might be targeting. And at this moment in time, it looks like Arsenal will be getting a big influx of cash, probably the highest transfer summer they've ever had, or the highest transfer budget ever spent in a window, especially after the summer we had last summer. Rumor has it that this summer coming up is going to be just as much or even more than we spent the summer before that. And with the wage bill we currently have, I understand why that might be the way it is. So my question to you guys is, do you believe that Arsenal will have that type of money to spend? And do you believe we'll get the players that we need? Because going into every transfer window, I don't know who you guys speak to, but everyone I speak to is absolutely worried. I heard somebody say the other day that they don't think we're even going to sign a striker. Those kind of comments I don't believe. but when it comes to people worrying about if we're going to get the right type of players, I definitely worry. In the summer, when we signed Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, I backed it. I said, you know what? I backed the signings. They're here. I back him. But if you've seen the rest of the fan base, they were saying, Tomiyasu, we don't know you. Now they know him. They're saying he's better than who we've had before. Ramsdale, we were saying relegation candidates. Ramsdale. Now he's looking like one of the best goalkeepers in the league. So personally, I back the recruitment. I back the way we've improved overall in our dressing of players. But do you believe that we'll actually invest and spend the money wisely, like we did this past summer? Let's start with you, Colleen, because of course Saeed spoke last time.
I mean, we are gonna buy a striker. We have 2 strikers that have 6 months left on their contracts. We're definitely signing more than 1 striker for sure. Whatever the quality is a different question. How much money is being spent on it? Completely different question. But we most certainly are signing a striker. I have a bit of mistrust for the board. I think we did do well last summer in the amount of money that we did have to spend. And ever since they increased, their ownership of the club, they have increased how much they're willing to put in. I think if we get Champions League, they don't really have an excuse not to back him. However, I don't really buy this whole, because the Rams won the Super Bowl, we're going to get a load of cash, I think it's nonsense because they have a completely different strategy to us. The only thing that's similar is that they hired a young coach. They drafted in players to win now. They don't even have any draft picks coming next. I don't know what they're going to do. They have to figure that out. But they've bought players who are they've drafted in players who are there now. Arsenal's not doing that. Arsenal are buying players to win now. They're getting the younger players in. It's not the same.
I'll get onto the Super Bowl thing after. Let's just try to stick to the summer transfer window because I need to get back to you on that point afterwards.
So in terms of that leading into money, I don't think so. But I do think we will be backed by them. I don't know whether 180. We've never seen continual high expenditure from the club of terms of 120 plus each year. I do think we will spend similar amount of last year. It depends on who our targets are. If we're really going to go for that Isak player, he's got a risk of around 70 million. It's half already. So I think we need 2 strikers. We don't just need 1. So in terms of how many we're going to get in and of what quality and how much they're going to cost, we might see a similar pattern from last season where we did spend a lot, but it was slightly, excluding Ben White, slightly cheaper, younger players but there's a lot of question marks around that this season got answered. So I think we might see a similar pattern. I don't think we're going to go for any superstars or anything like that. I think 180 million might be a bit too. I don't believe it's going to be 180 million, but I think in and around 120 million, I can see happening, considering last summer.
Okay, Saeed, I'm going to throw it over to you next. Same question. Do you think we're going to spend big in the summer? And do you think we're going to get the needed signings that we need?
Well, I do like the logic and how to put things, building blocks, so we can see where the trajectory is going. Put yourself in Edu's shoes. I'm not saying Arteta, Edu's shoes, because he's the one responsible about bringing in the budget and looking after the recruitment and the negotiation, etc. Okay, so if we look at it this way, you already offloaded a lot of players with big salaries and stuff like that. You already saved a lot of money. Your recruitment plan proving to be successful. So you must go next summer with the Champions League in sight, which is going to give you a big boost in your negotiation and make your life so much easier because every player would like to play in Europe. I think they will spend. So I believe it for those reasons, not because exact number or that amount of money that we're going to bring, because you could go and get 30, 40 million player, but still he fits into your philosophy and fits into your team, then he's going to be much more productive than the amount of money that you paid for him. So it all depends on that kind of trajectory, and the reasons that makes me believe that yes, we're going to spend, but obviously it all depends on that force up, top four. We need to get this top four, otherwise players will just not going to be interested to come into the club.
No, I 100% agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. If we don't get top four, it's going to be difficult to attract the level of quality that we need to compete with the likes of Man City, Liverpool, and everybody else. This is why achieving Champions League football this season is vital for our future, but it is not the back-breaking thing. Of course, we need it to get some of these players, but I feel like recruiting, if you do your job, we can still find gems, even though, because I'll tell you this right now, guys. If we go out and buy the most expensive striker in world football, that's Haaland, he's not going to join us. Vlahovic, we tried to go for him. He's not going to join us. We have to do good recruitment regardless of what we sign. And I think Isak, he's a good signing. I like him. But is it a little bit lazy of us trying to just go for players that we're just going to have to pay the release clause? Why don't we go and try to find somebody good? That's why I like the guy from AC Milan that we're linked to today, or some of these other links that we're linked to, because it shows that the recruiting is doing their job. But guys, like the video right now. Make sure you guys share this on your socials. Let people know. Colleen and Saeed have been nice enough to join us for this video. Wonderful conversation so far. We're going to continue, but I need to challenge you on that point, Colleen. I think the Super Bowl win is good for Arsenal. Let me explain to you why. I think, hear me out. I think the fact that they won the Super Bowl and they went all the way in and they showed the level of ambition that they showed, they might be able to match it again. If we ever get into a situation where Arsenal can compete and get into challenging for a league, they might go all in. Because what they did this season for the NFL, they went all in. They sacrificed their whole future. As you said, they mortgaged all their draft picks. They did everything they could to win this year. And if they're doing that level of ambition for the Super Bowl to get the win for the Rams, they might be able to replicate it at Arsenal. If we ever do get to a situation where we have a team competing at the top of the league, they might say, you know what, we're all in also. We're buying you that extra striker. We're buying you that extra right back. You need a midfielder, we're getting him for you because you can win the league now. And if they do that, what's stopping us? If they back us financially and ambitiously, what is stopping us?
So, like you said, if we get to a chance where we would be competing for a title, we're not even there yet. We're not even in the Champions League. I think next season we won't. If we were to be in the Champions League, I don't think we're going to be competing for the title. I think we'll be competing to stay and get some consistency and actually stay in the top four. I don't think it'll be as easy as that. As we've now reached top four, so the season after we will now be challenging for the title. I don't think it's going to be that quick, and it might not be that linear either. So it just depends on whether they have the patience to see. We could drop back. We could get the Champions League this season and drop back out the following, that whole fourth, fifth thing. I mean, we might not. We could stay. We could stay in it and start building again. But I don't think it'll be as easy as okay, we get fourth. The following season, we can start challenging. It's like, okay, I can see they challenge. We'll invest all this money. The last NFL season prior, I guess the Glazers, their NFL team won. And they kind of did a similar thing. They brought in Ronaldo and things like that. It's not really worked. So I guess we could probably see how they end up dealing with it. Might give us a bit of a hope, bit of a year in advance of what we might do. As it's a similar position, their team won it. They invested heavily. They brought Ronaldo in. It's not gone to plan. Are they going to throw cash at it again? What are they going to do? We've never really seen this from the Kroenkes though. We've never seen them just be like, do you know what? Get that extra right back, as you said. Get another striker. Of like top quality to keep us challenging. We've never seen it. If it's a change in attitude, I mean, we've seen Josh's comments. He's been, even in the last few years, he's been much more visible, much more vocal, which also might have it might be in tandem with them getting more stake in the club over time. But we've never seen it. So it's a bit of a guessing game, to be honest with you. I can't say that they will and I can't say they won't. I just don't think just because they won the Super Bowl, they definitely will. And I think they will give us money this season, but I don't think it'll be throw money at it to win the league next season. Maybe the season after. It's kind of that building kind of process that we've already seen for the past couple of years, but I don't think straight away. For sure not.
You're on mute.
I'm so sorry. Josh Kroenke did Josh Kroenke did speak about Arsenal, and he had an interview the other day. I don't know if you guys seen it, but he spoke about having ambitions to one day get back to the level of the Invincibles. And in his interview, he also spoke about Arsenal. He spoke about his journey with Arsenal. He spoke about the Super League. He spoke about so many things. But one thing specifically that caught my eye was how he said in football, there is obviously it's a lot different than North American sports, and how there seems to be he seems to understand Arsenal. Like, I don't trust the Cronkies at all, obviously, because they haven't done it. But I do believe that Josh Kroenke does have the best interests at heart for this club, and he might be someone that might actually take this project further. And seems to be the head of the ship right now. Him and Arteta seems to be the head of the ship. So just before we bring it back to Arsenal again, I want to say, are the Cronkies starting to turn you around a little bit? Because I know it sounds crazy, but Josh has been very involved at Arsenal. This documentary might also help PR wise, or are you just not believing it until they win a league or something for us? Because for me, Champions League, you deliver it, I love you. If you don't do that, not yet. I'm sorry, I can't believe you. I need to see one of those 2 trophies in the cabinet before I start believing the hype. But what about you guys?
I think we sing from the same hymn sheet, Iga. I mean, I'm on the same kind of wave length, but do I really trust the Cronkies? No, I don't think so. They never actually put any kind of enthusiasm behind the ownership of the club. Josh had some quotes before saying it. I didn't know that football is much bigger than NFL. In Europe, I think it's much more deeper than what we think. I'm not against any owner that comes from the other side of the pond. The problem is they need to understand what football is for people in Europe and the rest of the world, because in America, you look at the sport rank for them is like NFL, baseball, and some other sports, and then you get football. All around the world, it's the other way around. Football is on top, and except for some parts in Asia, you get cricket on top. So when you look at the entire landscape like that, you need an owner who actually understand he need to breathe the culture of the club and the culture of football in order to support it. I mean, think about it this way: if we have an owner, a British owner for an NFL club at the other side, would he understand the NFL? I really don't think so. They need to understand. They need to make the effort to understand that kind of culture and how the enthusiasm of that goes through the fan base. Otherwise, they lose it. They lose this kind of connection and bond between the owner of the club and because the owner at the end of the day is just look after the club, and that's by law. He can't change too much. Yeah, but he needs to understand what the club is in order for me to trust him. You see where I come from?
I hear you. Colleen, I'm pretty sure maybe same thing. Am I wrong with the Cronkies?
Yeah, no, I don't trust them. I do think Josh has great PR the past 2 years. He's saying the right things, he's saying what you want to hear. But at the end of the day, we've still not won. We've still not challenged for the title, and this whole time they've been here, we've not really been in the Champions League or had a good run in the Champions League for a very long time. So he can say everything he wants, but until it's actually there, results wise, like look at Chelsea, for example. They've dipped in and out. When they've had an off season, Abramovich has just come, invested, and then like that, they're back. It's a completely different culture and a different kind of how they run their machine over there, of course. But you know that if they mess up the season before, for sure that they're going to get all the investment, all the help that they can to achieve that next season, not 5 seasons time. So Josh is saying the right things, but until again we actually challenge with, and I see the Premier League back in North London, the red side of North London rather, then it's a bit redundant him coming out speaking all the time.
It's a bit ironic. It's a bit ironic because I think Ibrahimovic was going to buy Arsenal if he was advised to buy Arsenal at that point of time in 2004. Seriously, I mean, David Dean was furious when he knew about this. That was you can. I've read that in a book called The Club. It basically explained the story of the Premier League and how it actually came out to be an industry. So it was. I was astonished when I read this. It was a bit interesting. So imagine Arsenal with Abramovich and the owner. So it's brilliant.
Let's not talk about Chelsea. They're going to sacrifice do. But moving on quickly. Just to let you guys know, some of the news topics that have been going out today. Arsenal Stadium will be refurbished in order so it does not decay like Manchester United's current stadium. And this is some good stuff. Kroenke's trying to do more PR. I would say. Do you guys disagree? Because I've seen the chipping on the badge over in the Emirates. Like, it definitely needs refurbishment.
It needs a bit of work, but that's not going to be a huge project. To be honest with you, it's a more like a PR rather than a real project. I mean, what the Emirates needs in order to become a great stadium rather than a very, very good, excellent stadium. Okay, what it actually needs, it needs some, few bits and pieces. They're looking after the access system, for example, the video system underneath the stands, better restaurants, better kiosks, better access to the stadium. That's all bits and pieces. It's not really a huge big thing. Obviously, I don't know. I haven't seen the project yet in order to give some kind of a meaningful feedback. But from my point of view, what is your priority? The priority is to get football games and 3 points every game. That's the priority, rather than giving me some VR project. That's my feedback for the time being.
And Colleen, just so we move on the topic quickly, the next topic is actually there. Since Stan Kroenke has that wonderful stadium over there with the Rams, if you guys haven't seen it, it is breathtaking.
Crazy.
He's going to be hosting Arsenal at the Rams Stadium in preseason. So thoughts on the Arsenal going over there?
I mean, it's nice for your overseas fans to get over across, but I mean, we do tend to stick to South Asia normally on tour or Australasia. I mean, it's nice for on a fan perspective, we have a lot of, it's nice to get the fans in the US to be able to come and see them without having to stay up to 3 a.m. and stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's also a bit of PR. It's his club, 2 clubs coming over. The whole of America and bits of around the world have seen the new stadium over at the Rams. It looks magnificent. So, I mean, look at it. That is absolutely crazy. It's a very, very, very nice stadium. So, on a business front, get both of your teams, both of your investments in one place in LA, where they've just won the Super Bowl. And, even though Arsenal won't be coming over with a Premier League trophy or anything like that, they are historically rich. They are a very, very, very big club across the world, regardless of our current standing right now. So, stadium is just more PR for them, what they can do in it. It kind of advertises it for other things outside of football. It's nice on the fans front. It's nice. Otherwise, it's not really. I don't really think too much of it.
Moving on to the last.
This stadium is a $5 billion stadium. It's not only a stadium. It's a stadium. It's a shopping center. It's a leisure center.
Yes.
It's a community center. There is loads. There is a big lake around it. Look at it. That's how I would like to see the Emirates this way. I mean, a retractable roof in the Emirates would be very nice. Just to stop that rain coming down our faces at the Emirates would be nice.
Yeah, we need.
That's what they are.
Just look at that.
It's crazy. That's what stadiums are these days, though. It's not just football. It's what else can they get revenue in outside of that? Can they get like a cheeky little bar? Can they get an NFL team over? Can they hold a concert? Can they do boxing?
Yeah.
It's not just football. In this world now, it's just not football. It's not just football. Any means of income, will help.
No, honestly, that is it is breathtaking, but unfortunately, that has nothing to do with the actual Arsenal. So we have to move on. But
Exactly.
right, the final two topics we're going to talk about is if you guys don't know, Gabriel Martinelli has been training for a new position that we need to discuss just before we wrap up. They've been training him to be the new striker at Arsenal. So Gabriel Martinelli could be playing as the striker or the center forward going forward for the remaining games if Lacazette is not pulling the mustard. And Eddie Nketiah has already been proven to not be trusted by Mikel Arteta as the first choice. So what do you guys think? I personally think the opportunities Lacazette had versus Burnley, versus the last game that we played versus Wolves, he doesn't miss those one on ones. He doesn't miss the open goal against Burnley. He gets it on target at least. Where Lacazette, I just worry that he's gonna fluff his line so many times that it's gonna cost us. So I'm all for Martinelli playing a striker, and I think Martinelli is more of a striker in the way that he dribbles and the way that he views the game than he is a winger. He doesn't look up for me enough. He doesn't have it's not that he doesn't have the passing ability or vision. He's very much like tunnel vision, straight at goal, trying to go at goal, and it's like on the wing, you need to be a little bit more tricky. You need to have more dribbling about you. You need to have more presence about your attacking prowess and how to get into pockets where he's more or less just trying to get in behind and go one-on-one against the goalkeeper. So thoughts on Martinelli as a center forward? I think it's a good move. I'll leave it open to you guys to discuss also. What do you think? Martinelli is a striker.
You go ahead, Colleen.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not mad at the idea of it. I mean, but I think it's also a needs must as well. I think he does have the capability to be a striker. It would be interesting. It'd be nice to see, because then if Lacazette is out for whatever reason, injury or whatever, it also gives us another option by reintegrating people like Pepe on the wing, something like that. But I do think you're right in terms of Martin. I think I don't grumble at him being on the wing, but he doesn't have that. He's not a wing. He doesn't have the winger brain to like get your head up, have a little look, see what could be the next thing. He is great at what he does, going in one-on-one, trying to get past the defender. But I think he probably be best utilised in as a centre forward. But I also do think we don't even have a choice whether Mikel wanted to do it or not. If Lacazette's out, there's no one else. We don't have anyone else up front. So we do have Nketiah, but no offense to him, but he's just not good enough. Just not good. He's very limited. You have to play a certain type of way for him, and it's very particular, and that's just not going to cut it for the next 16 games. So I think he does have to, and it also, like I alluded to before, allows Pepe to come back into the team if Lacazette is completely out, and it allows us to experiment a little bit more. But it still is a little bit of an experiment. We don't know how this is going to pan out, but we're not scoring enough. We don't score enough goals, so we might as well just throw caution to the wind a little bit and give it a go.
You want to know something? This doesn't help. Just before Saeed goes, I'm sick and tired of these type of moments. I'm not trying to pick on Lacazette, but he just does this too many times. You could have gone near post. Emil Smith-Rowe did that earlier this season. He was through one-on-one, went near post. Martinelli threw one-on-one, chipped the keeper. Lacazette, he threw it at the Budweiser sign. What are you going to do? Like, honestly. Saeed, you go ahead. What's your take on this?
I think we don't only look at the moving a player from the wing into the middle. We look into what kind of phases of play that we're good at. We're good at build up. We're good at progression. We're not good at the certain final third. If we would like to be much better on the final third, you need to look at the tools. Where are your tools? You have Lacazette. You have Smith-Rowe on the left, or Martinelli, or you have our youngster, what's his name? Oh, I went blank. What's the number 7? Our number 7?
Saka.
Oh yeah, Saka.
How do you forget Saka? Oh my god!
I don't know. I keep mixing Laka and Xhaka and Saka. I mean, they sound
the same. Yeah.
All right. So, but look at the tools. You have a very good right winger. You have a good left winger. But what you do in the middle? Yeah, are you going to replace Lacazette by Martinelli? Is that going to be your main striker? I don't think it's a good choice, unless Martinelli have the ability to be a false nine, to allow two different wingers to come in and do what Liverpool's doing. Okay, but we're not playing what Liverpool formation is. I mean, we don't apply the 4-3-3. We apply 4-2-3-1. Okay, so how are you going to fix it? How to going to put it together? I really don't know. I don't see it working, but I see it as a tactical decision rather than a strategical kind of decision or strategic move. I think he was pushed to give away Aubameyang, okay, and therefore he's trying to replace him by any means. I don't think he's in a good place at that point of time, considering the strikers or the final third in altogether. Because if you look at the entire league, we create chances. We do create chances. We create quality chances as well. Okay, according to the XG scale. Looking around us, but when you look at it, very carefully, you see that Manchester City produced as twice quality chances than as us. Liverpool is in a completely different planet. Chelsea is much higher than us. I'm looking at where the chances are, at what are the quality chances that we create. So I don't think it's gonna work very well, but it's the only choice we have at the time. I
think they're looking at him as a better finisher than Lacazette. That is the main thing. Yo, someone said you look like the professor from Money Heist.
That's brilliant.
That is good. Bella ciao.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to tell you guys what the result of the poll was. 125 people voted. 63% said yes, Arsenal are favorites for top four, and 36% said no. I will tell you guys right now, mathematically we are. Vegas and all these guys have us as number one favorites, so that doesn't matter. But finally, Brentford. What are we doing against Brentford, guys? I personally think we're going to win. We're at home. We play well at home. Just predictions, unless you don't want to give a prediction. That's fine also. But predictions, guys.
Do you want to go first, Colin?
No. I mean, we should be winning the game. If we're serious at all about trying to get top four, we have to win the game. It's as simple as that. And also, we were embarrassed against them at the first game of the season. It would be nice to get a little bit of pride back in that fixture. But if we're looking at quality of squads, we should be winning. But I do worry that if they do get a goal, do we have it in us to go score 2 or 3? Just because I just don't think, like you alluded to before, I don't think we produce enough quality chances. And who's finishing them? It really depends. So I think each game is going to really depend on what personnel we have available, and tactics each time are going to have to be so spot on, just because we don't have a lot of people to play with. We don't have a lot of options. We can tweak the way we play and try and catch people a little bit on the surprise. Formation-wise, if we do Martinelli as a number 9, for example, or like as a false 9, sorry. But that's my worry. I think we should be beating them, but I'm just worried if they get a goal, do we have it enough for 2? Because we need to win. We shouldn't be drawing against Brentford at home.
Just before we do the full everything, I'm just going to do this quickly. This is our team sheet's pretty predictable. Ramsdale, Tomiyasu's back, just so you guys know. Ben White is going to start. Gabriel.
Do you think you'll start him straight away?
Who? Tomiyasu?
Tomiyasu. Do you think
Tomiyasu was fit before Wolves, but he didn't play him just for safety reasons.
It'll be interesting to see.
He was in training, but now he's fully back. Like, the reason why we didn't play him against Wolves is actually political, because we took him out of the Japanese qualifiers for the World Cup. So if we would have played him immediately after the internationals came out, they would have been pissed. So I don't think we played him because of that. Now,
I think I would like to see him eased in a little bit, actually, considering how it was against Liverpool. I mean, I would be happy for him to start, but if he is 100%, he did his best against Liverpool, but he obviously wasn't 100% fit. So as long as we're not rushing players back.
Would you rather Cedric?
I mean, Cedric is an inferior player, but you know, I think we're a little bit too harsh on Cedric. Actually, he's obviously not. He's not a Tomiyasu. That's a fact. He's Cedric. He's very limited. He's not the best. But in our last game, I think he did him against Wolves. I don't think he did like anything too crazy wrong, especially as with 10 at the back. I don't think he deserves the bashing from that. I think he did. He put it from when he had his chance. He did a decent job.
I think offensively he's a very good player. Defensively, he's not a very high. You know, I wouldn't rate him high defensively.
Would you play him this game, or would you play Tomiyasu if he's fully fit?
I would play Tomiyasu, not because Tomiyasu is good in attack. He's not the best in attack, but because he just keep you safe on the right, and he can play. You know, he allowed Tierney too much space and freedom to go and do whatever he wants the entire game, just by switching the last.
Only if he's fully fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just to let you know, he is fully fit, and that's what the rumor is, and he's back. So Bukayo Saka starts on the right, first name on the team sheet. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saka, the one that I forgot his name. I really don't know why.
Saka.
Odegaard in the 10.
You know, sometimes you go blank.
Yeah, 100%.
Odegaard, yeah.
Odegaard in the 10. Since Thing is out, Smith Rowe on the left, and up top, Lacazette.
Yeah.
So this is, I think the team sheet picks itself. I'm going to lock it in. Everyone, you can see right there who's in the team sheet. The only changes I think people would make is people who have agendas against Xhaka, take him out, even though it makes no sense. And then...
it does make sense, by the way. He's number 27 in doing mistakes, leading to goals across the entire history of the Premier League. So it really makes sense. I like him.
I think we have to come back another day to discuss Granit Xhaka. We'll be here all night.
His numbers speak for itself, man.
But I'm going with a 2-1 Arsenal win. I think that's what I went with. 1 second, let me just make sure, because I keep track of my predictions. No, 3-0 Arsenal win. Hopefully, that's what I predicted. Colleen, scoreline.
I think it'll be 2-0.
2-0. And Saeed, give us your in-depth thoughts on that game.
I think 1-0, and we will be very good if we do 1-0. We just need the win. We need the 3 points. That's the baseline for me. I really don't care how many goals we score.
There you go.
3 points.
And Saeed, with the Xhaka comments, you've made a new friend.
Right. Yeah. You bro. Yeah,
honestly,
bro. Yeah.
I absolutely love this video. It's been one of my favorite videos I've made all year, honestly. Actually, like for the past 2 years since I started my channel, one of my favorite videos so far. I highly recommend anyone that's watching right now to share this to any Arsenal fan. It's been very informative. It's good to have a panel of people who can talk about the game in depth and also have a lot of respect for. I would love to have you guys on in the future again, and hopefully Arsenal continue to win. We get top 4, and we can have this discussion again at the end of the season when we're in good route. But have yourselves a wonderful day. Everybody. Thank you for watching. And Colleen, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram, Miss Colleen Wills, as my handle is there. That's where you can find me.
There you go. And Saeed?
I'm on Twitter, Saeed Farouk, the same name of the handle is basically the same name of my. The handle itself is the same as my name, so easy to find.
There you go. And have yourselves a wonderful day, guys. We're out of here. Everyone, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and have yourselves a wonderful day. We'll be back tomorrow with the Premier League prediction show with Husam and the gang. Have a good one.